Hello and welcome to Perfect Glamour Fashion. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make the 6 pieces bustier with built-up neckline. So the first thing we're going to be doing is to come down by 5 inches. This 5 inches is going to be serving as our start line. We're going to be building the collar on the 5 inches. Okay, so every other measurement we're going to be taking from now on will be from the 5 inches mark down. All right, so when you've ruled across your 5 inches, do well to rule your neck width and neck length. So I'm using 3 by 3 standard neck measurement for this, and then you divide your shoulder by 2 and mark. Come down by 1 inch on that point where you divided your shoulder by 2, then connect your shoulder slope to the neck width point. The next thing we're going to be doing is to form our armhole curve, and the way to do that is to come down from your shoulder slope by whatever your armhole length is. Usually you divide, to find this, you divide your bust by 6 plus 2 inches. Whatever you get becomes your armhole length. For me, mine is 8 inches, so I'm going to be marking 8 inches on that point, and then I'm going to be ruling a straight line. If you are not very sure of your straight line, you could also come down and mark your back divided by 2 downwards, so that it will be easier for you to measure your to rule your straight line. Okay, all right, so you divide your bust. In order to form an angle, you divide your bust by 4 and mark. So this will help you form an L shape. Okay, and then I'm going to divide this length by 2, the armhole length by 2. So wherever I get at that point, I'm going to come in by ½ inch. This is going to help me to form the armhole curve. So this is the basic way we form an armhole. In case you've been having issues with your armhole, this is a very simple way to form your armhole curve. Okay, all right, when we're done doing that, the next thing we're going to be doing is to vertical measurements, and that includes the nipple points, the under bust, the half length, and then the length of the blouse. So whatever you want to use as the length of your blouse, I would advise. Now the top length you'll be marking here is your desired length minus 3 inches, because you're still going to add 3 inches in order to form your curve as we proceed. Okay, so don't mark your full top length, mark the top length you want minus 2 or 3 inches, depending on how many inches you're using as your curve. Okay, all right, so what I did was my top length minus 2 inches. All right, so I'm done squaring up the line, and the next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. For me, my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 divided by 2 is going to give me 4. So I'm going to mark 4 inches on the bust point, the half length, and then the top length, okay, or the bust the blouse length. And I'm going to rule a straight line. This is going to guide me for ruling my darts. Okay, now for the darts, I'm going to be marking 1/2 inch towards the center front. Okay, so towards the center front, you're going to be marking ½ inch, and this ½ inch also I'm going to be marking it from the under bust down to the blouse length. Okay, so I'm going to be squaring up the line to go all the way down to the blouse length, but from the under bust, not from the bust point. And then for the other side, I'm using 2 inches to square. I'm squaring up 2 inches for the dart on the side. Okay, so if your bust ranges from 36 up to 40, you can use 2 inches, but if it's above 40, you should use 2.5 inches for the other side of your bust. Okay, now I'm going to be using a curved ruler to connect this point to the bust point. Usually I use this side of my curved ruler, not very curvy. On the other side, I use this curved ruler. The way I'm placing bust facing towards the upper part. When I don't know if that makes sense. I'm still going to do curve this when I'm done, so pay very close attention when you see me recovering it. Okay, all right. So but if this is the curve you do, this is also very perfect. Now to finish up the bust that, I'm going to be connecting that half, the half of my armhole, the point that I marked as the half of my armhole. I'm going to be connecting it to the slightly, you see the slight part of my curved ruler is a slightly curved part of my curved ruler. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, I'm going to be connecting it all the way to the half of my armhole, and then I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch. Now if your bust ranges between if your bust is from 36 to 40, then you should use 1.5. But if your bust is anything above 40, you should use at least 2 inches to form your armhole dart. Okay, so now that I'm done connecting it, I'm going to go up. From this point, I'm going to go up by whatever armhole, whatever space I use. If I came down by 1 inch, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. If I came down by 1.5, like I did, I'm going to go up by 1.5. This is to ensure that there is no shortage when you are joining. Okay, now that I'm done doing that, I'm going to reconnect the armhole. This is going to give me a new armhole altogether. Okay, so now that I'm done doing this, I'm going to be marking my underbust divided by 4, my underbust circumference divided by 4 plus the dart. Remember, you left space for the dart, so ensure to add it whenever you are doing your circumference. Okay, so and next thing is going to be for me to mark my waist circumference plus dart. So whatever I have as my waist circumference, I'm going to add what I have. Right now I have 2.5 inches as my dart, so I'm going to add it also. Now for the down part, I'm sorry my camera didn't capture this part. Divided by 4. What I'm basically doing is my hip divided by 4 plus that. Just the way we did for the underbust and for the half length. Okay, so my hip divided by 4 plus the dart, then I will connect it. Now before I connect my half length to my hip, I'm going to come down by just half inch. Okay, so this is, I didn't want it to flay from my half length. I want it to flay a little above my half length. This is if you have a bigger if you have a big belly, a big stomach, okay, this could help you cover your belly. Okay, but if not, just go ahead and curve, do this curve at your waist. Okay, so do the curve at your waist if you don't have, if you have a flat tongue. Okay, all right. So for at the hemline, which is the blouse length, I came out by 2 inches. So go ahead and come out by 2 inches and reconnect, form a new curve. Okay, now remember I told you that your top that you're marking here is the length that you want minus 2, okay, or 3, right? So I'm coming down by that 2 that I minus earlier, and then by the side I'm going up by 2 inches. If you want your curve to really curve very well, then you can go up by 2.5 or 3 inches, depending on how curvy you want that hemline to be. Okay, so once you're done doing this, go ahead and connect. I hope you really caught this. If I lost you at any point, just rewind and then go ahead and look at whatever I did. You'll be able to pick it. It's actually very simple. So this all we'll be doing for the front for now. We'll still come back to drag the built up collar, but for now we are going over to the back. We are over to the back. Alright, so the first thing we're going to be doing at the back is to mark our zip allowance. Don't forget to mark the zip allowance. I'm using 2 inches zip allowance for this. So I just came in by 2 inches, ruled a straight line, that's all. And then I also ruled a start line, right? I came down by half inch and ruled a start line. Now at that start line, I'm going to be marking 3 inches width for the neck of the back, and 1 inch for the neck depth of the back. So the neck depth of the back is 3 by 1 inch. Okay, so now that I will connect it with my curved ruler, and then I'm going to divide the shoulder by 2, just the way we did to form the armhole for the front. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. And then we come down by 1 inch and connect So we are doing exactly what we did for the front. Now that we are doing that, the next thing we're going to be doing is to mark back divided by 2 also, just somewhere down. This is to help you get your straight line. That's all. So you're going to be marking your armhole length. Well, I've talked about how to get your armhole length. Your bust divided by 6 plus 4 plus 2, sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to be ruling a straight line. And now that I'm done doing my straight line, I'll mark my bust divided by 4 to form my angle. Okay, so I'm forming this L shape, which is my angle for the armhole, and I'm going to be dividing the armhole by 2, and I'm going to come in at that point by ½ inch to form the armhole curve, just the way we did for the front. Okay, so now that I'm done doing the armhole, I'm rolling out the armhole curve. If you've been following us on this channel, I want to thank you, my returning subscribers. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for watching our videos. I hope you find it useful. If this is your first time seeing us, you're welcome. Join the family. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can get and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that once we post a video, you'll be the first to know. All right, so I'm going ahead to mark my vertical measurements here. For this back, I'm marking only my bust point and my half length, and then the top length. Okay, so I'm marking my bust point, my half length, and then my top length. Okay, so I'm not really using my under bust, but you can go ahead and still mark it if you so desire. Okay, so I'm going to square up the line. Now that I'm done squaring up the lines, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, just the way we did for the front. Okay, and then we're going to rule it all the way down. And so at the half length, we are going to be coming in, remember at the half length, okay, we're going to be coming in by ½ inch on both sides, and we are going to square it up to the bust point. Next, we are going to connect it with a curved ruler to the that same half of our armhole. Okay, so with this slightly curved part of our curved ruler, I'm going to be connecting to form a princess dart for the back, and then I'm going to go up by ½ inch. This is also to avoid shortage. Okay, I'm going to go up by ½ inch to avoid shortage, and then I'm going to form a new armhole. So this is the part of the armhole that I'm going to be cutting, not the first armhole, this new armhole. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is to come to the hemline and mark ½ inch on both sides, and then square up the darts. So this will be helping us to finish up the darts. So when we're done finishing the dart, the next thing we're going to be doing is to mark our horizontal measurements. Okay, just the way we did for the front. Now I'm starting with my underbust, the underbust plus the darts. Remember, whenever you're taking a horizontal measurement, check if there is a dart, and once there is a dart, do well to add it after you've marked your horizontal measurement plus the darts. Okay, all right, well, I've done the same thing for my half length, and I'm doing the same for my hip circumference. So my hip divided by 4 plus the darts. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting this. First of all, I want us to also remember that in front we came down by ½ inch because of the belly. Okay, so if you have a flat tummy, remember that I said that you should go ahead and connect your curve at your half length. Okay, but if not, you can do as I do. All right, with that being said, I've connected my horizontal measurements, and just the way we did for the front, I will be going out by the side by 2 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it to the waist. Okay, now it's just to the 1 inch or ½ inch above the underbust, okay, that we're using because of my belly. So we're going to come down by 2 inches or 3 inches depending on what you want. Remember what we said for the front, we are doing the same thing for this place. And then by the side you go up by 2 inches and connect your curve. Now, in order to ensure that my zip is not bulging, in order to eliminate zip bulge, I'm removing 1 inch from the zip allowance. Okay, so I'm going to form this, I'm going to rule this diagonal line towards the upper part. Okay, just nice and simple like this. And then I'm also going to do the same for the down part, and whatever I remove from the zip allowance, I'm going to add it back to the side. Okay, so add it back to the side. If you are on the smaller frame, if you are a smaller person, then you don't need to add this back. Okay, like if you are from, if your waist is anything below 27, then you don't need to add this back. Okay. All right, so but if you are above 27, do it to add it back so that you don't have shortage. So I'm done doing this. I'm using my marker to show you where I'm going to be cutting. Yeah, this is the part I'm going to be cutting for the sides. I'm also showing the lines. I'm also making the lines very visible. So this is part 1 and this is part 2. I hope that's clear. All right, so we are back to the front. Like I said, we're going to come back to those fronts. I'm going to re-emphasize the shoulder slope so that you can see it very clearly, because this is where most of our measurement is going to be done. This is for us to draft our high neckline. Now, the first thing we're going to do, I want you to pay close attention to this part. The first thing I'm going to do is towards the shoulder slope, you're going to mark ½ inch. And towards the center front, you're going to mark 1 inch. Okay, so on the neck width towards the shoulder slope, you mark ½ inch. Towards the center front, you mark 1 inch, and then you also mark the neck depth you want. For me, I'm using 7.5. Okay, you can use 8, you can use 9, depending on how deep you want it to go. Now I'm also going to connect it to the 1 inch I came out by, and then I'm going to measure my round neck for the back. Okay, I'm going to measure it. Whatever I have is what I'm going to use for the high neck. Okay, for me, I have 3.25. I have 3.25, and so I'm going to mark that point on the diagonal line that I have already ruled from my neck depth. Okay, so I'm going to square up that line. I'm going to square up that line. I hope we're following. Okay, so at the tip of that line, I'm going to mark 1.5 inch. Now you can use 1.5 inch, you can use 1.25. okay, so but I'm using 1.5 inch. I want this to be a bit bold, right? And I'm going to connect this line, this 1.5 inch. I'm going to square it up. I'm going to square it up, and when I'm done doing that, I'm going to now connect, you know, it to this ½ inch that I marked towards the shoulder slope. Now, if you were not able to pick what I'm saying, go ahead and watch it again. If you watch it again, you'll be able to understand what I'm doing. The next thing I'm doing is to use my curve ruler to redraft the shoulder, to redraft the neck depth that I marked earlier. Okay, you notice that hers have this curve going on. Okay, all right, so once you're done doing that, you are done. No, we are done with this pattern. So the next thing I'm doing is to just cut out the patterns for the back, and then I'm going to do the same for the front. I'm going to be cutting out the pieces for the front. So look closely to what I'm doing so that you know what to cut out, and be very careful so you not cut out your neck. Okay, all right, so this is the material that I'm using to sew this. In our next tutorial, this is already very long, so in our next tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to cut this on the material and how to sew piece it together. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Do well to give it a thumbs up, and do well to follow subscribe for more videos like this. Okay, if you have any question, ask in the comment section. I'll be there to answer all of your questions. Thanks for watching. Bye.